Hi, and welcome to Geno's Takes, my NFL wrap-up for Week 7. This may be the best-kept secret on the SBR forum, because if you're watching these, and I'd really like the numbers to go up, you are getting incredible advice for the following week in the trends. Last week, I told you that Zach Mettenberger was a good quarterback and not to be impressed with Atlanta. Did you bet Atlanta this week? You probably did if you didn't watch the video, so tell your friends, get on board, not to mention, given the way I picked the NFL last week, you want this information, so let's start. The Bills are terrible. You know that. But here's a fun factoid. E.J. Manuel, by the way, after the loss in London, which I predicted, I said the last team with the ball would score and take the over, he is now the first quarterback in the history of the NFL, not Brady, not Manning, not Unitas, and I don't know that they'd want this, to be the quarterback that lost in 3 different countries. He lost in London, he stinks in America, and lest we forget the Toronto series back in December of 2 years ago when he lost to Atlanta in overtime in Toronto. You know, and that's the game I think he needs to be concerned about, because the way he's playing, he's about to be auditioning for the CFL. All right, here are some trends that I can't get enough of. I told you so. This is the thing about the NFL. When me and you see it as just regular Joes watching football and we say that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, how can they must know something I don't. A lot of times they don't. And that's what's going on in Detroit. I told you to keep picking against them. I said take the Vikings this week. But here's what they just did. Did they get rid of Jim Caldwell, who makes teams worse? No, 2 days ago, they fired their offensive coordinator and promoted, you know this, and if you don't, you're going to love it, Jim Bob Cooter. That's their new offensive coordinator. You can't make this stuff up. Really, Cooter? Apparently they don't want to just kick the tires on this new offense. They want to solder the doors shut. Look, I can't help but explain to you that Jim Caldwell is what's ruining this team. And firing the offensive coordinator is you know what it's like? It's like blaming the shipbuilders the moment the Titanic hit the iceberg. All they're doing is trying to avoid steering it in a terrible direction. That's what Jim Bob Cooter has inherited. Don't expect the Lions to play any better. They're a terrible team. Okay, Arian Foster, sorry if you have him on your fantasy team. I'm even more sorry if you think Alfred Blue is going to be the answer, because running backs don't get carries when a team is trailing from behind. And this team is a mess, as evidenced by the fact that Arian Foster is in a game when they are getting blown out by a score of, 44-20 with 4 minutes left. And he goes down on a non-contact injury. Here's an idea. Somebody should contact O'Brien, the head coach there in Texas, and tell him he's a terrible head coach. And he bases all his data on prevent defenses. That's why Hoyer came back in. Mallett's gone. They released him today. Did you see that? Which is interesting because he overslept and twice and missed the plane. Well, that's the first time Mallett has ever been associated with a quick release. I'm kidding. This release, just like his in the games, took far too long. They have nobody at quarterback. This team is going to get progressively worse. That's why the Colts don't even care that they keep losing games, because they are going to walk away with this division. The real story in that game is not the Texans, but it's once again the Dolphins, and how Dan Campbell has done exactly what he said he's going to do. He has turned this team into a hard-nosed football team that Philbin let get away. And every one of these crushing defeats, he's put up 2 now against Tennessee and Houston, and I know they're not good teams, but he beat them soundly like you're supposed to. Every win like this makes Josh Philbin's phone get quieter and Joe Philbin, quieter and quieter, because he was a terrible head coach. He will never be a head coach in the NFL again, and I don't think you're going to have to worry about a new one in Miami, because this interim label is going to last about as long as Arian Foster did on the field this season. Okay, so Dolphins, Thursday night, we'll have a pick for you, but you've got to be leaning towards the Dolphins in this one. All right, those are Geno's takes. We'll see you in, well, why not tomorrow with more videos.